Hi, I'm going to be talking about my disability assignment. I had a congenital amputation. I will be touching on how it was meaningful for me and what I learned from this experience. So, obviously, with the what is going on right now and the coronavirus, I wasn't able to participate as much in the activity as I would have hoped, but I tried to make the most of it, especially with regarding the psychosocial factors. I kind of explored a little bit and used creativity to come up with some of the psychosocial impacts of my disability. So I found a woman online who is a congenital amputee. She has a YouTube channel. So I was able to watch her videos, learn about her personal experiences, learn about the impacts that she has described and just how her disability is relevant to her own personal story. I thought it would be useful to do so because we are going to be doing that with our clients. We are going to be learning about their personal narrative. We're going to be learning about their own meaningful experience, and we're going to be helping them. So I thought that would be useful, given that I wasn't able to experience everything. The one time I was able to kind of go outside and experience some of that psychosocial impact was when my husband and I went to go for a walk. We weren't able to go as far as we wanted because of rain, but that's okay. When we walked out, I remember the first thing that kind of came to my mind was that I didn't want anyone to see me. And that was totally natural. And so I took in kind of that embarrassment, that fear that someone would stare at me or things like that. And we did pass a family, and I did notice that they were kind of staring at me. My instinct was that I wanted to just hide it, but I didn't. And I think that really helps me to realize what someone may be feeling when they have, a congenital amputation. Obviously, it is something that is very visible. It's not one of those invisible disabilities. It's something that everyone can see. And with the video that I watched, the young woman stated that many times when she meets new people, many times when she goes out, she is often explaining to others or teaching others about her disability. And so I can imagine that kind of becomes frustrating over time, feeling like you always have to talk about it. And obviously it's important for awareness, but I bet that can be frustrating. I realized that many of she was interviewing another person with a congenital amputation, and she stated that a lot of kids bullied her when she was younger. She had a hard time fitting in, and I can just imagine growing up with something like this, that it kind of impacts your school, it impacts just your confidence growing up, your understanding your identity. There's just so many different things that I can imagine are impacted. For me, I definitely experienced a little bit of a lowered confidence. I felt strange, embarrassed, almost rejected, even though no one said anything to me. It was kind of natural. I think because a lot of us as humans care about what other people think, that's a big impact of this disability. So And along with that, if the person experiences a lower self-esteem, if they don't feel confident, it might be harder to be motivated. It's going to be harder to want to participate. So that's just something that as a clinician, it's important to keep in mind. Throughout this process, an overarching theme that I kind of picked up on was just occupational adaptation. Not necessarily the theory, but more so finding adaptive strategies to do occupations, which I guess is the theory. But I realized that it was more about doing things in different ways that I was not used to. So obviously I'm right hand dominant, so using my left hand more often was really challenging. But I realized that it didn't take, if I did the right problem solving, I was able to figure it out. So the assignment was more about me trying to change my body's like natural instinct to use my right hand. So like, for example, when I was opening a bag of frozen chicken, my first reaction or my first instinct obviously would be to use my right hand, but instead I used my mouth and I opened it that way. So that was kind of something that I did. Or even when I used a knife to cut onion, it's in a picture, but I placed my forearm on top of the knife to kind of help provide more pressure and support. So just different strategies is what I learned. And I think when we're working with clients who have amputations in general, it's important to really adapt the occupation so that they are still able to be independent and they're still able to participate. Even though we don't have adaptive equipment, really, I don't have any, but I did use this to wash the dishes. Well, it's kind of gross right now, but it's got soap. You put the soap in it and then you can just press on it, and as long as your dish is stabilized, it really helps to do the dishes. So I thought that was really cool and interesting, and kind of shows you the benefit of using adaptive equipment. So some of my biggest challenges have to be related to kind of my ADLs, especially getting dressed. I think I was able to undress easier than dress. And I think the hardest thing for me was a bra, which a sports bra could be a good alternative for a woman. It was easier to slide on. I also found that showering was really difficult, especially because I didn't have the ACE bandage wrapped on my hand because I didn't want it to get wet or anything. So I just opted to keep it fisted. But that was really hard because I noticed that my natural instinct was, I was like fighting myself not to use my right hand, which is a weird feeling. I think once I was able to keep it kind of behind my back and really practice doing it with my left hand, I kind of came up with the strategies. I have, pump shampoo and conditioner, so that was really helpful to use. But for the body wash, I kind of had to hold my loofah underneath my arm and then squeeze it. So that was new. But again, it was about creating, problem solving in order to complete the activity. And I did it in my own unique way. I also had a really difficult time with my hair. I'd say that was probably the most challenging thing for me. I like to wear my hair up, and so using two hands to do that is like essential. You have to use two hands. So it was just kind of like not what I wanted it to be. It didn't look like what I wanted. So I take that into consideration, if we're working with a woman who has a congenital amputation or even just an amputation, and now she has to style her hair with one hand. That is really difficult. And so empathizing with them and helping them to come up with strategies, maybe if they don't mind asking their sister to help, or whatever that may be, we can help with that. I also found it challenging, as a college student. I am on my computer all the time, just typing. I love typing with two hands. Well, everybody does, but I'm a quick typer with my two hands. I really had to practice patience with myself. And I think that's another really big concept that not only did I learn about empathy, but I learned about patience, both as a clinician and as the client. Patience was very important. One, as a clinician, when we are working with someone, especially if it's a new condition or a new disability, we have to be patient with them. We have to empathize and understand that this is something new, that this is something challenging and different for them, and we have to be willing to let them figure it out themselves. And then as a client, or the person with the disability, I really understood the importance of being patient with yourself. It can be very frustrating when you are not doing something the way that you want to do it. So it was really important for me to learn that it's okay. You're gonna have to just take your time with it. And that's something that we can take with us as practitioners into the therapy world. So as far as my theories go, I was assigned MOHO, and I was also assigned neurodevelopmental. So with MOHO, obviously we're looking at my roles, we're looking at my motivation, my habits. So I put that my role as a wife or a homemaker was impacted. If we are working with a client who experiences this and she feels like she's no longer able to take care of her home or do her laundry or things like that, we are looking to help improve her functional performance so that she can fulfill those roles. We're also looking at her confidence, improving, wanting to enhance her self-esteem, her sense of self-efficacy. We are going to be looking at her habits, her routines, just her everyday life, so that she can optimally participate. And my other theory was neurodevelopmental, so it is a movement analysis for rehab. It is a problem-solving approach for achievable outcomes. I really like how this theory actually applies, because like I said, a lot of it is problem solving. A lot of it is, obviously this is something that is not going to change. It is something that is lifelong. So it's important that we're not trying to remediate. We are trying to help with problem solving strategies. So I really liked that. And another really cute thing about the assignment was that my husband really tried to participate with me, and he used his left hand to eat as well. So I really enjoyed this activity. I think it was really meaningful for me. It taught me so many things, most importantly, empathy, patience, and just a desire to understand every client's meaningful experience. Thank you.